I don't really even know why I'm doing this. It's just my brain is moving and I'm thinking about how can I make these tools for pulling crankcases together better. And what I came up with was, I can use a piece of threaded rod like this to pull the bearing into the case or pull it out of the case, and I can just hit it with my impact and it's done. But as you guys saw in the last video, I can't do that with when I'm pulling the crank through. So this is flywheel side on the 372, and if I'm doing this down here, then I've got this nut that I'm contending with, and you gotta kind of do that with the nut. But what if I didn't have that? What if I could do this with my impact? And how? Follow me here. Follow me, people. In the middle somewhere, make a little flat, kind of arbitrary. It's got to be a few inches up, though. Just need to be able to get the punch on here. So Walt calls this stuff, well, what he's doing is Farmer Jones mods, and just to rib him a little bit, I'll be Farmer Smith. And Farmer Smith is a little bit more innovative than Farmer Jones. Drill our hole. Open her up. Or rather more. I want to be able to stick my scratch through that hole. This is 5/16. Slightly sloppy fit is okay. There. So here's a 372 case. I already got a spacer in there. Here's this, and all I'm going to do here is get a general measurement for height. Piece of pipe, 3/4 inch pipe. So somewhere around there we're going to need to cut it. You do want a fairly nice cut on the end. So if you need to shine it up a little bit. Of course you clean up the ends with some sandpaper. You're not soldering with it, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, now, again, we're going to measure. So, here. Something like that. Actually, let's go one. That's 5/16. Let's go one size bigger. Just because I don't want things to bind. Now you just have to get the Dremel tool out and cut that. Let's cut this. You really don't want any pieces in there, because if you're doing this near a crankcase that has open bearings and pieces go in, that's obviously bad, so you want it clean. Nuts, which I used as a handle, just to tighten them against themselves. I don't need the handle anymore. Flywheel side. Case half with this is a junk case and a junk bearing, but it still won't go fully seated, so it'll do for demonstration. 6203 race, and my threaded rod. Doesn't have to be super tight. Sleeve, scrunch, a washer. That's got to be fairly centered on the copper. That's 1 1/8 inches. So inch and an eighth socket. It's the first time I'm doing this. And this is going to be in the wrong position. You want the crank, the connecting rod up, obviously. And we're fully seated in the bearing. That's all that took. Now the bearing itself is not fully seated in the case half. Again, this is just a junk bearing and for demonstration purposes, but that was all that took. No heat. I can use an impact. Anybody want to see it again? That was my first go. That was my first try. Nailed. First try. Okay, so I pressed that back out of the bearing. Let's try it again. Just to prove you can't do it by hand. You know, you get in there with your hands and you're like, I can't do it. Well, yeah, you're right. You can't do it. Let's try to do one continuous shot here. So, 6203 race. This is the flywheel side. This is my threaded rod adapter. M8 by 1.0. And copper pipe. Now, one thing that I probably would like to see, just again for giggles, would be actually solder a piece of a coupling on here, just to give this right here a little bit more thickness, but obviously this works fine without it. Be just nice to have a little bit of reinforcement up top here. Snug that a little bit. Get your scranch in here. Again, the connecting rod is up. And we're going to move the camera up so you can see it, because I didn't get it last time. Inch and an eighth socket on my impact. Hold. Out. And again, we are fully seated in the bearing. It's gone down to the stop. Okay, let me again see if I can you see that in there? Yeah, good. So the crank has a stop on it and it's fully seated in the bearing. So that was really cheap. Absolutely positively inexpensive. This just happened to be a piece of 3/4 pipe I had laying around. This is actually L. This is thick wall pipe, and I think it would be nice to have a little bit of extra thickness up top here. So if you soldered a coupler and then even cut it, it would give some thickness to that wall. But that works. That works. How fast was that? Press the crank out again. Put that down. Again, it's about the thickness of the bearing that you actually have to seat it. There's an inner race from 6203. Now the adapter here gets screwed down. I'm going to bring it over here just so I can show this to the camera a little better. So this is not tight by any means. This is loose. That goes in there, just as a handle. Maybe I can just use the nut. Let's see. And I can feel it want to go. You back it off. Again, we're fully seated. So I did it 3 times. It's predictable each time. The only thing that I see, the bottom copper here against the inner race is fine. The top looks like it could use a little bit of reinforcement maybe. All it needs is a coupler to be soldered on and cut off, and then you've got adequate thickness to put a washer against. And then it probably will be fine. So there you have it. I'm sure that I can do that for the other side as well, for the power takeoff side, and obviously for other saws. You just have to measure correctly and make sure you have adequate travel here on the adapter sleeve. And I'll bet you can do this with PVC pipe too. You're going to want to leave probably an adequate thickness up here so that it doesn't split. And if you wanted to make yourself really nuts, you can put probably a slip coupling all the way down, cut it out, give yourself a little bit more wall thickness here, and that way this doesn't tend to splay out. But I mean, you could do it with iron pipe if you really want to grind forever. I'm sure you can do it with iron pipe. This just happened to be convenient, and that worked really well. Please check out my other videos on how to make these tools. Obviously, real simple M8, M10, M8 by 1, M10 for the flywheel side for a lot of chainsaws. The power takeoff side is a little more complex. M12 by 1.25, M14 by 1.25, and M12 by 1, all left-hand thread for the clutch side for quite a few saws. That covers a lot of saws there too. I'll try to put links down in the description for how I made these tools in the first place. You just drill a hole and tap it. I mean, it's not that big of a deal on roughly a 6 or 8 inch length of 3/4 inch threaded rod. So it doesn't even need to be that exact. You can make these really nice if you want. You can make them cheap. It's up to you. But now when you put cases together, you put cranks into cases, there's no more heating things up or cooling things down or getting things stuck midway or losing your heat or going, oh crud, I forgot something, all that. So it's a whole lot easier to do it this way, I think. If you like chainsaws and you like this video, please join us at Outdoor Power Equipment Forum, which is opeforum.com. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe.